Hey guys, Jen here from A Diary of a Dreamer, and today I'm going to make a friendship card using Once Upon a Star. I'm going to use the two critters and some of the stars. I'm going to use a sentiment from Jump for Joy. I'm going to use this from the Stitched Landscape. And I'm going to use, there we are, some Grassy Border Die. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so I'm starting with the background and I'm using several Distress ink colors. I had pulled out Peacock Feather, Blueprint Sketch, Wilted Violet, and there's two others that are a bit darker that I ended up not really liking, so I didn't really use them much. So that's why you see 5 there, but I've only listed 3. And then I also have Black Soot over in the corner. So I'm just making my background. I'm using a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock, and that's one of the ones that I use. I'll put it in the description of which color it was, but it wasn't bright enough for what I wanted to do, so I ended up hardly using it, and I went over it with some other colors. This card is for a dear friend of mine, Jackie. She's been a great help. About 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, I don't know, I can't add. I ended up having some health issues and I'm not able to drive myself at the moment, which is really frustrating. But Jackie has been such a huge help. Her and I go to school together. We have all of our classes together this semester, and so she's been fantastic about picking me up for school, taking me to school, and bringing me home, and if I need to do any errands in between. So she's been super awesome. So I just wanted to make her a really quick little card just to show my thanks. This card, I'm proud of myself, guys. It's not a Halloween card. I thought that I've been so focused on making Halloween cards that I decided to branch out and do something completely different and threw myself for a loop. I won't lie, I did kind of struggle with this card, which is mostly due to my own silly mistakes. And this is where, if you hadn't guessed, guys, I'm making a galaxy background for my card, kind of a night sky galaxy background kind of thing. But I did struggle with some aspects of this card, which was my own fault and poor planning. But hey, you live and you learn, right? Gotta clean off my mat here. Got stamping stuff all over it. So now I am going to use my mini Misty and stamp my little fox and bunny. There we go. I don't know what I was doing at first. I was having a brain fart. So this is a trick I picked up from a memory keeper. I'm not entirely sure which one it was. I think it might have been Amy Gretchen. Where when you have new stamps that you haven't used before, a good way to kind of break them in or rough them up is you use an eraser just to go over them, so that way they pick up the ink a little better. And I just used my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and in hindsight I probably should have used my VersaFine ink, because I'm going to color these with Copics, and as I was coloring them, the ink bled a little bit, but again, you live and you learn and continue on with life. So these are the Copic markers that I used. I will put them down in the description box for those that are interested. I used YR01, YR04, and Y38 for the fox. Again, I'm still pretty beginner at Copic coloring, but I'm trying to work on it every day, and I'm getting a little bit better. And I just watch a lot of videos to learn from. Now I'm going to color, I'm using my colorless blender because I got a little bit out of the line by his ear. Now I'm going to color the bunny. Once I lay out my markers, I realized I did pretty good this video about realizing that I was off screen and I needed to get back on screen. So for the bunny, I used E31, E33, and E37. So the E33 and E37 worked really well together, but the E31 actually ended up being a little too tan for what I wanted. So you'll see that I go back over where the E31 is with the E33 again to kind of blend it all out. And here I left the bunny's tail white, but I ended up coloring it in off screen because I didn't quite like how it turned out. So this was one of my adventures, was trying to figure out how I was going to cut this Grassy Border Die and whatnot. But before I do, I am using, Mowed Lawn and Twisted Citron for some grass. I'm just going to cover the whole piece. Again, it's another piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock, so that way I can die cut a couple of times. And here in a minute or two, my camera is going to die. Actually, no, it wasn't my camera that died this time. My memory card ran out of battery. Or ran out of space. That did not make any sense. My memory card ran out of space and it cuts off, but I caught it pretty quickly and had to go dig for another memory card. So you are going to miss me actually die cutting everything out, but I figured nobody really wants to watch that because it's a pain. There we go. I have my tree. I have my grass, my little fox, and my bunny, and then I also die cut this black stitch landscape with the tree. And now I'm kind of playing around where my sentiment goes. I use the So Thankful and We Are Friends stamps from the Jump for Joy stamp set, and I'm trying to figure out how to get it in there without hitting the tree. And you will see when I complete the card that I actually did not place, when I was adhering everything, I didn't place the grass in the right place. So right before I show you the actual pictures, you'll see that it is a little blocked by the tree, but I realized that and I went back and I fixed everything. So the pictures are going to be a little bit different than the end of the video, just a warning, but it's because I realized I made some mistakes and I fixed them the best I could. And now I'm actually going to clean off my stamps and then put them away. And then I'm going to take some of the constellations from the Once Upon a Star stamp set and stamp those in. I'm going to use some silver embossing powder and my Versamark ink. So now I'm just kind of placing everything where it's supposed to go, so that way I can try to accurately place these constellations. So I really don't remember where this silver embossing powder came from. I have it in a little Tupperware bin, and I, for some reason, didn't label it. I think it came from Michael's. Actually, I think my mom gave it to me like a year ago, 2 years ago at Christmas time. So I can't tell you where it came from or what brand it is, but it worked pretty well. See, I'm just struggling all over the place today, guys. It's just not working in my favor. And I'm sorry the lighting is kind of poor. It's been really stormy here where I live, and the lighting in my office is not the best. We are getting ready for Hurricane Irma, which makes it even more fun because it rained the week before Hurricane Matthew last year, and that's when half my city kind of washed away. So I'm hoping that this year goes a little better and Hurricane Irma doesn't do as much damage as Hurricane Matthew did. I personally got lucky. My house was fine. We didn't have any flooding, but I had several friends who sustained severe damage. I'm hoping that my city learned from last year and is better prepared, but we shall see. As you can see, it's just in that little blue container right there, sprinkling it on. I picked up a handful of little baby spoons from Target, I believe, and then that's just what I use to use my embossing powder. And I'm taking a separate stamp that's about three little stars together, and I'm going to stamp those around the constellations that I put on there just to add a little bit more to the card. Pulled out my heat gun, and I think my favorite part about doing all of this is watching as the embossing powder dries and changes colors. For some reason, that is just really fascinating to me. And for those of you that are interested to try to do a distressed background like I did and you don't know how, I will link a couple of videos below that I learned from. One I think is from Jennifer McGuire. I think there's another one from I just drew a blank on her name, and I do not want to call her the wrong name. because that would be absolutely terrible and embarrassing. But I will link it below. And my camera is about to go out again. I really need to figure out what's wrong with my camera because I'm using 32 gigabyte memory cards, and they still seem to run out of space very, very easily. But thankfully, again, I catch it really quickly. Found a new one, and I just trimmed off the grass. This is where I placed the grass in the wrong spot, and I end up covering it with the tree. But I did end up fixing it because I adhered it down with just my adhesive tape runner, and that is not necessarily the strongest. So I'm not sure why my video is messing up right here, so I am really sorry about that. Here I'm just cutting some red line tape to go around the border of my black tree cardstock. That was die cut with just some regular Black Recollections cardstock from Michael's. And that white bin there is just a little bin that I use to hold my scraps so that way they're not all over my desk. Christina Warner, that's her name. I didn't want to tell you the wrong name, and I finally remembered. I found it. Just adding some of that red line tape to the back of the tree. The stuff is super sticky, and once it sticks, it's not coming off. So it has been an adventure. And then the red part is super staticky, so it gets stuck on your hand a lot. You'll see me like spastically shaking my hand trying to get it to unattach from me. Like right there, it got stuck on me and it would not leave my hand alone. Not fun. Like I said, this card definitely gave me some troubles, but I am overall happy with how it turned out, and I can't wait to give it to my friend Jackie. Right here, I can't believe that I didn't even notice that it was covering the S of So, the tree that was covering the S of So. I didn't realize until I was done, and I was like, oh, really? But again, like I said, I fixed it. And I'm just kind of trimming the edges because the card base that I was using where the distress stuff was a little bit bigger than my black frame, so I just had to trim it down a little bit. Can add some red line tape to the fox and the bunny. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here. I think I was looking for a different type of adhesive, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted. I apologize that I'm off screen. This card didn't take me nearly as long as I expected it to with all of the moving pieces, but if you hadn't guessed, I did speed this video up to like 4 times the normal speed, just that way you guys weren't sitting around forever watching me work on this card. Because while I enjoyed card process videos, I don't want to sit and watch one that takes, you know, longer than like 45 minutes. Now you're going to see me do something a little strange. I am going to adhere my card base, or I'm going to adhere my panel here, using that red line tape again, to my card base, and then I'm going to cut the card down because it is quite a bit smaller than what I have there as a card base. It's a little bit strange, but I didn't have one that was the right size. So what harm is it going to be to cut down a card a little bit? And, you know, it's still going to fit in an envelope, so that's all that matters. I do need to get some actual card bases or something. I don't know. I need to figure it out because this is all just recollections stuff, and it's not the best kind of stuff, but it, you know, it works for the level that I am at. Here I'm just going to adhere the card down, and I'm going to cut around it, and then we are going to be done. I'll leave a link to my blog and my shop down in the description box, as well as the supplies that I've used. I try to link several places where you can buy the supplies because I know that they are all different price. Please check out my shop. I do make custom cards, so if you're interested in that, please let me know. If you see a card that you really like on my channel and you don't see it in my shop, again, let me know, and I'll see what I can do for you guys. Alright, until next time.